We're privileged to have him on our luxury mastermind today. And I'll go ahead and just let you give us a brief background of how you got started. I mean, you got started at 18 years of age, and now you're the #1 agent in the world. How is that possible? How does someone accomplish that big goal?
Well, thanks for inviting me here, Brandy and Ashley. Honored to be here. Always love chatting with my fellow peers at KW. Anything I share with you today, I've said this over and over, I'm not anyone special. Whatever we've had the pleasure of enjoying, you all can do as well. I got in real estate when I was 18 and was in new home sales. Never thought I was going to be one of you all. Really was in new home sales for 32 years until the crash of '08. Anybody around in 2008, raise their hand.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations to you all that were in it and survived and are still here, today. Then we decided after our builders went out of business when the crash came to get into resales. And my lovely wife and I started the Bob Lucido team, and we've had the pleasure of growing it each year. We've made a lot of mistakes over the years, and I just wish I would have started with KW in 2008 and would have hired a coach early on. So my first suggestion to you, and I'm pretty passionate about taking notes, I'm going to encourage you all, first learning point today, one, if you don't already have a coach, get one and get an accountability partner. Critically important. We hired a coach about 18 months ago, and I thought being around Gary Keller in these pirate mastermind groups, we had about 10 or 12 people he would invite us out to every month or two to also, I thought that was enough, but it really isn't. I needed somebody to dive into our business. So we've made so many mistakes over the years, but we're really on a great path right now. And we've really got our systems down. Growing from when I first came to Keller Williams in, I guess, 2014, we were doing $253 million a year. And then in 4 years, we went to $850 million. That sounded impressive.
Wow.
But really, we didn't have a lot of systems and processes, and we're great top line business getters. We didn't know how to generate business. I didn't really follow the red book, didn't really follow the systems and models. So I got a coach. Not that I thought I was better than anybody else. I just didn't understand. I brought my Remax ways to KW.
Yeah.
So this lesson number 2, one was get a coach. 2, tap into your market centers, training, and counsel with other people, and follow the systems. Don't fight the system. We didn't even have. You ready for this? We didn't have an ISA until 7 months ago.
Oh, wow.
We hired. I just didn't think. I just didn't understand that was necessary. Then I looked at other people around the world who were succeeding at a great, I'm like, these people are going to pass us. We better change. So we hired the #1 ISA in the world for Redfin, and we've got about 7 ISAs now. And now we're expanding and putting in our expansion locations. And my goal is to grow that to be the largest and most successful ISA program in the country.
Well, that's top level talent. I mean, what I love about you, Bob, is you're competitive but humble. And the one thing I feel you do really, really well is you go after the top talent, because you want to surround yourself with people that are going to help you think big, keep that energy level that you have. And I mean, I love that you admit all those, mistakes, failing forward. I did the same thing when I came over to KW. I owned my own brokerage. I thought I knew everything. And I think it was Tim Heil that I saw on stage. And he kept talking about this model. And I'm going, what is this model he's talking about? And I read the red book. I started going to market center training. I was with KW 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6 years before I started to go to market center training. And that was family reunion. I saw him on stage and I'm like, this guy's like 21 years old, doing triple the business. I better get it together. So I read the red book and started following it.
Yep. Well, hats off to you for doing that. And it's people that are the constant learners are the ones that are going to succeed the most. We're nowhere near where we're going to be. In fact, last year around this time, I wasn't happy with what we were doing. So I picked up the phone and called Gary Keller, and first thing he did is recommend I read a book, and that book was, I couldn't put it down, was Pizza Tiger by Tom Moynihan, the founder of Domino's.
Okay.
And that paralleled our business so much. Well, Tom, the history of Domino's is very successful, but Gary always has a book for you to read. So I said, Gary, I want to fly out to Texas and meet you for 3 hours. He said, that's fine, come out. So we went out, we met, and he changed our entire business. And we are on fire right now, and we're really excited about what we're doing because we learn from our mistakes. We're implementing systems and models. We have a coach advising us. I'm not telling them what to do. We're learning again. I'm a rookie all over again. But we've always been good with the top line generating business. And now with our systems and models, we're finally putting it together. So get a coach, get an accountability partner, tap into your market center. It'll make a huge difference. We're here to talk about luxury. And I think, Brandy, you wanted me to talk about, I guess, three main things. One would be, how do you get into luxury?
Just how to get started. Yeah, how did you get into luxury? How did you get into luxury? What was the first, domino that you hit to get you into that field and that, realm of the industry? It's not easy to do.
Well, I will say this. I don't think I ever chose to be into luxury and say, I'm going to be the #1 luxury person in the world for Keller. It was never a goal. Got into it. And then, so my recommendation to all of you on this call is, one, if you want to be and do more luxury, you got to get in the game somehow. You got to get that critical one and then domino from there. So I got in and got a couple of listings. All of a sudden, other people started calling me. I'm like, well, this is pretty good. Then all of a sudden, somebody else called me with a $5 million house. I'm like, and I started getting a little bit, I'm gonna say intimidated, but I was like, wow, this is different. I'm like, it's still a house and there's still people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get comfortable with that. So get in the game with luxury. How do you do that? Number one, a great way to do it is open houses, where you can meet other people that are either buying luxury homes or other neighbors that are in the neighborhood that are coming by to take a look at your house. You want to be in that environment. Learn about luxury. Learn about the stats in your marketplace. You've got to be able to speak the language of luxury. You want to be able to know that how many days has it been on the market, the average sales price. Now I will share this with you. In luxury, most time the first agent gets fired.
Yeah.
Now this market recently has been booming, so we've had a lot of people succeed with luxury that maybe wouldn't have succeeded before. But normally the first agent gets fired. Why? Because they take the listing overpriced. Second, the sellers have high expectations, and it's they fire the agent, think it's the agent's fault. It's always good to be the second or third realtor in luxury. If you're able to be the second or third realtor, most likely you're going to get paid and you're going to be successful, because now the seller is willing and comfortable with you and the fact that he was overpriced before.
Yeah, they're usually more realistic on price the second or third time because it didn't sell, and that second agent's going to come in and say, well, there's a couple of things. It's price, condition, or location. You have great location. You have the condition of the property is great. So what does that leave?
Yep. No, you're 100% right. So number one, to get into luxury, I would say the easiest way, you could join the better, Chamber of Commerce. You can just hang around people that would buy or sell luxury homes. Number two, you do open houses. Number three, you could circle prospect a successful listing in your market center, circle prospect off somebody else's success. Number four, I think the best way, and everybody on this call could do it. In fact, I have a huge success story to share with you in a minute, is aged older expires for luxury. Totally a missed game. Most people go after the expires that expired today and tomorrow and yesterday. Nobody's going after the ones that expired a year ago.
Right.
So I went after, I subscribed to a older expired service. So I went, knocked on a door for 1.3 million. Lady spoke Chinese, and we were able to say, how about Saturday at 1 o'clock? She understood that. I came back with an interpreter. Anyway, we're listing a house for 1.3 million, all by knocking on a door. No competition. It expired,
Well, usually, yeah, when they expire that same day and you're calling, they're frustrated. They're usually very upset. So it's much easier to get someone that's had 6 months or longer to decompress and take a break from showings and all of the activity that goes on in getting your house ready.
Now I'll share this with you. One of our top agents, I love her. Her name is Samina. Debbie Henninger, you're on the call. Hello, Debbie. Debbie happens to know Samina. Samina comes from a very successful family. Samina is a passionate learner. And she sells She probably does 20, 25 million a year right now. She just said she's going to increase her business 60% over the next 12 months. No, she's going to, 60%. She hired a coach. Even at doing 20 to 25 million, she hired a coach. And she said, Bob, the one area I'm going after is old expired. Her first call, she just listed a $2 million house in Bethesda. And she's got another one, a condo. So one's 2 million and one's 250,000, which is pretty incredible. She's playing a game with herself to see how she can grow this business. And she's turned on by it. She's only been doing it a week.
Wow, that's fantastic. 1 week of calling. So let's go back to circle prospecting, just in case there's anyone on the call that's never done circle prospecting. What is that? I know what it is, obviously calling the neighborhood, but what is the process? What does your team do when you have a listing to circle prospect around?
Anybody on this call could circle prospect today. If you can do it around an open house, if you're doing an open house this weekend, you can circle prospect before or after the open house. A great way is when the house sold and you've got 8 offers and you circle prospect and you go knock on the door and say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I just sold the house down the street. Here's 8 offers. One person was successful. I got 7 people that lost. They're looking to buy a house. Do you or you know of anyone looking to sell their house in the neighborhood? So you're coming from contribution. You're coming from knocking on doors, being friendly. You're not pressuring anybody. Just look, I've got some exciting information to share. I've got buyers that want to move into your neighborhood. Do you know anybody looking to sell a home right now? So you could circle prospect open houses. Number 2, you could circle prospect a successful sale that you or somebody some of your office has had or on your team.
Sure.
Circle prospect around that. Hey, this house just sold. We've got other buyers. Do you know anybody who wants to move in? We bring buyers to, and we sell houses. We're on the buying side a lot, like I'm sure you are. Mm-hmm. And we go circle prospect and say, we brought the buyer. Do you know anybody looking to sell? And we say, we brought the buyer postcards. So circle prospecting is essentially prospecting by phone, by letter, or in person around a successful situation. Now, everybody's got to do what they're most comfortable with. I'm most comfortable going door to door. I love talking to people and I love going face to face. I think one of your greatest assets, all of you on this call, is our physical appearances. We're professional, we speak well, we're all beautiful. We have something to share. The easiest thing for somebody to get rid of is a letter. You just throw it away. The second easiest thing to get rid of is a phone call. The hardest thing to get rid of is a body. When somebody knocks on your door and they're there and you're enthusiastic and passionate, you go, look, I'm not ready to sell, but I do know that, in fact, I was just at a house last night with one of our agents. They're listing their house and they want to buy. They said, oh, by the way, my neighbor 3 doors down wants to sell too. So I went and knocked on the door. They went home. I left my card there last night. So it's prospecting around successful business.
You touched on something before we move on, because I know there's people on the call that maybe have never done that, and maybe they don't have any listings to do that around. So obviously inventory is low right now in pretty much all of the country. You touched on the team opportunity. You have a large team. Even if it's a small team that you're on, you could certainly use the inventory or a success story from maybe the listing agent if you're a buyer's agent on the call. You can certainly do that and get a referral on the listing. And the second thing you mentioned was something in the market center. I guarantee if you talk to a person in your market center that just sold a listing and you went out and were able to get another listing and you didn't know what to do with it, but you got the appointment, they would certainly co-list with you and help you get that sold. And then you could turn that into more business. So sometimes there's opportunity sitting right in front of you with a team or a market center sale that might not be yours individually.
Great point. I want to share this with everybody on the call because I'm passionate about, we just had our team call this morning from 11 to 12, and we talked about the 555 that our coach shared with us. And that is number 1, call 5 people from your social media. 2, call 5 people on your phone and add them to your database, and then 5 people from your database. It was 5, 5, 5, 15. And the whole conversation, the whole topic was, how many conversations are you going to have today? And one question you can ask yourself at the end of this day, and you want to write this down, is how many meaningful conversations did I have today with a buyer or seller? If you have none or one, you need to increase your numbers. A lot of people get enamored with some of our success in sales. Let me just tell you, guys, I'm nobody special. And I was a rookie at one time too, just like you. So once you get comfortable with who you are and where you are, you can do anything you set your mind to. You've got a great leader in leadership. You've got a great brand in KW. You can piggyback off of other people's successes. I love somebody who comes on our team who's enthusiastic, passionate, excited, confident. It doesn't matter that they don't know much. They're just eager to serve. Mm-hmm. So get out of your comfort zone. Feel comfortable doing it. The best way to do it is just do it, and you'll feel more comfortable doing it again and again and again. But just realize we were all rookies at one time. Nobody's better than you. They've just done a little bit more than you. But the only reason that maybe Brandy and I have maybe a little bit more success than you all have is because we've taken more action, we've had more conversations, and we have failed more than you all have. So be confident. And that goes back to what Gary said about being readers. Listen, show me what you're reading. Show me the tapes and the CDs that you're listening to.
Yeah.
Who's coaching you? How are you getting your positive reinforcement? So anyway.
Who are you coaching with? Do you mind me asking? Because that 555 sounds real familiar to me.
Yes, I'll tell you. I know in KW they ask that you keep it kind of. Anyway, I'll share. It's Sajeg Patel. Sajeg is awesome. We think the world of him. He was handpicked for our team and size and what we have, and he's been a great mentor to us. We have a call every Wednesday, and he really dives deep. And
I think coaching is really important, and I love that you were vulnerable and said, I didn't start doing that right away. I mean, you had all that success, and I just can't imagine the trajectory and the path we're going to see you go on with the coach. I mean, how powerful is that going to be for you and the team?
To show you something, Brandy, I actually used to watch our numbers all the time because, we were, being number one was great. And I was looking at, volume and so forth. I actually don't look at my gross sales volume really much anymore. I'm looking at our profits on a daily basis. I'm looking at our business. Today, I just learned that our market is up 7%. We're up 30%. And we were sharing with our team stats that we can use in listing presentations. Also learned that our inventory level is down, but our listings are up. So that's the stuff that I'm really measuring right now. Whereas before we were measuring, there's nothing wrong with it. It wasn't about ego, it was about growing. I was focused on growth, which is good. Growth is good, but you got to have controlled and manageable growth. So we know how to grow a business. We went from 243 to 850. We could be at $1.5 billion if we really wanted to, but we want to do measured growth and do it right. And we want our expansion partners and our team to be very profitable, because that's really what it's about. And our goal was never to be number one in the world. The goal was to be the most respected team on the planet, for everybody on the team to have fun and for everybody on the team to make money. So we're now diving deep and helping our team members focus more on their individual businesses.
I love that. And, going into a leadership position, I've definitely shifted my mindset with that over the last 5 to 6 years. And now I find myself pouring more into others and helping them become more profitable. And the conversations have shifted to, rather than what have you sold, what's your gross, what's your GCI, it's how many assets do you own? Do you own real estate?
Yep.
Because if we keep celebrating the sales position, which is a great thing, right? We can make a lot of money in real estate, but if we keep celebrating the sales associates' gross volume and we don't help them build wealth, that's not good for retention. And it certainly isn't helping their family. And we sell real estate. Why not teach them how to build wealth and start tracking their net worth that way?
I agree with you totally. I had the pleasure of seeing a lot of my clients, very wealthy people who have given us a lot of coaching. And what I see is people in our business, we have a unique position to be in, all of us here, everybody, is use your sales dollars, your commissions, to fund your passive income. And this is a whole nother conversation, but you can be a realtor for life, but you want to have your passive income there. So if you stop selling, you've got this business coming on. So that's another conversation, but invest in real estate. So number one on the luxury, because I want you to walk away with some nuggets. Getting into luxury. Do you want to do it? It's a mindset. Do you want to work with luxury buyers and sellers? Get into it by open houses, networking with those people, and age expires, I think, is one of the best ways to get into it. Second topic I want to talk to you about, how many people on the call actually are in luxury right now? Okay, great. I'm a firm believer, and I love what I'm doing. I always think, well, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, what would I ever want to do? One of the things I love doing, I love the auction business. I think it is a wonderful way to sell luxury real estate. And I think it'd be so easy to sell that around the globe. We did it with Cal Ripken's house. We've done it with a lot of other high-end professionals. Just sold a house in Austin, Texas for Mark Teixeira of the Yankees. Auction, and even if you're not in the auction business, there's a parallel here I want you to follow. The auction is a dirty word. What really it means is accelerated marketing effort. It means condensing your marketing effort into a short period of time to get a desired result. Auctions are a great way. 90% chance you're going to sell it and get a commission. Whereas other times there's a high failure rate in the luxury business. So it creates urgency. Now in our non-luxury business, we created a program called the Lucido Listing Blitz. We sell a lot of our houses in 5 days. It's all centered around the same thing that luxury is, which is creating urgency. So for our houses in this marketplace, over 2 million, we are introducing the sellers to the auction concept. And most of them, even Cal Ripken, no, we're not interested in that. First thing I think is that this is not a distress. I've got money, that's not an issue. I'm like, this is not a distress program. This is creates urgency program. So actually Cal Ripken, I use this as an example. I was his partner for 22 years and owned 2 minor league baseball teams, but he was going through a divorce. His wife, who's lovely, decided to pick another realtor. For that year, they overpriced it at 13 million and they had one show. Cal said, now it's my time. I'm picking Bob Lucido. So we interviewed some auction companies and we went the auction route. We sold it. And now I predicted it would sell 3.5 to 5 million. Other people predicted 5 to 8 million. The auction will produce the highest price. We sold at the auction for 3.5 million. Cal wasn't happy at the time, but the person that bought it, Adam Jones, a baseball player, he put $200,000 into it. He sold it the normal way a year later for 3.5 million. I was vindicated. It sold at market for another 3.5. It just resold again, I think, for 3.8. So within 3 years, it sold twice, all within the same as the auction price. And the seller doesn't pay commissions or closing costs. So I love auctions in that it creates urgency and that there's a high probability that you and I will get paid if we do an auction. So you should learn more about the auction process just to have it in your toolkit. They're also now doing boats, luxury yachts.
Yeah, a lot of.
So anyway, just you should know about auctions because your competitors are probably introducing your clients. If you're interviewing for listings, they're probably.
Well, what I like about the auction process is, they're going to pay typically, right? When you're putting in an MLS and you have a listing agreement, you're cooperating and paying the buyer fee, right, out of your listing as the broker. So you're sharing that. And in the auction process, that buyer premium and everything's paid through the actual buyer. And so, that marketing fee that the seller might pay, they were going to pay that anyway with that total commission, depending on your commission. It's obviously not a set commission, but
yep.
You have a backup for marketing. I mean, they're doing some pretty heavy marketing, and I'm not sure that many agents would reach in their pocket and be able to put all of that up front in marketing dollars for that type of listing. I don't know if a lot of agents have budgeted for that. No matter how well they do in real estate, they spend quite a bit of money.
You're 100% right, Brandy, and I'll share this with you. The hammer price is what the seller walks away with. And your commitment to marketing is not nearly as much. I still do marketing when we do auction houses. Well, one of our friends who has a house, we sold it several years ago for $3 million the regular way. It was on the market for 2 years. They said, Bob, we're never going to fire you. You're our friend. You're doing a great job. I said, and I'll never stop marketing. Now, I'm not too proud of this, but I'll share it with you. We were at 5 million. I didn't suggest going there. They dropped to 4.5. But let me back up. The first week I knew what the house was going to sell for because I had Mohammed, a customer, come by. He said it's worth 3 to 3.5. And then Cal Ripken's agent, a friend of mine, he said, Bob, I think it's worth 3 million. I'm like, no way, no way. We listed it for 5 at the request of the seller. It dropped to 4.5. It dropped to 4, dropped to 3.75. I spent $73,000 in advertising. It sold for $3 million. Our commission was $75,000. We made about $2,000 on it, but I learned an incredible lesson on that. I kept spending and spending and spending because it was my commitment I was going to do that. Over 2 years, it was because it was overpriced. Overpriced is the number one reason people get fired and houses don't sell. So getting the house price right. Now, one of the suggestions I have is for everybody on this call, even if it's a regular listing, even if it's $400,000 and the seller thinks it's worth here, one of the things we suggest is that the client go get 1 or 2 appraisals and we'll pay for it. Don't front end it, back end it on your commission. I say deduct the cost of the appraisal from my commission. That gets everybody in reality. Mm-hmm. Had we done that early on, my clients at 5 million who had 5.3 in it may have come down to a more realistic price because 2 years, and by the way, that's hard. I call sellers every week and touch base with, that's 52 calls a year to say your house isn't selling and it's all about price, but they're like, we're not going to lower it. So auctions create the urgency and will drive the highest price.
And I love that appraisal topic. I mean, there's a couple of appraisers that I use, and they're very specific appraisals. It's for waterfront properties, so it's difficult to come in and say, well, here's the CMA, here's the price per square foot. Some of these custom waterfront homes have never been built before. There's nothing like it. So when you come in and say, the word comps or comparable sales, I mean, you're shutting the front door right in front of your face before you even get a chance to have a conversation. But the appraisers, unbiased, they're going to do a very detailed report. So if you can't find anything and you've evaluated it 9 ways to Sunday, bringing in that appraiser does help some.
A lot of people, Brandy, think that luxury is the $3, $4, $5 million house. In our marketplace, $1 million would be considered a luxury home. So there are comps. There's 5 things normally. Now, Cal Ripken's house and some of your other luxury homes, there's no comps. Just to back up what you just said, there's no comps for it. Cal had 27,000 square feet with a baseball field in the front yard and a full-length gym in the house. There's no house in America like that,
right?
Let alone in the neighborhood. I believe there's 2 ways to determine the value of a home, and I should own a market research company. One is detailed comps. The second is a focus group. What is a focus group? You put it out to the marketplace. You can overprice your house one time if you want, but in 30 days, you've got agents and buyers that come in, they'll give you feedback. If they say, Bob, it's worth 3 million, you need to adjust it to where the market tells you to go. If you don't, it's going to be a long journey. So I was just going to say something big there. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, I think those adjustments are really important. You can't just have a base price per square foot. You really need to know the finishes. You need to know the custom builders in your area, building that luxury team, and the relationships are really important. Luxury appraisers, not appraisers that do bank appraisals, that, they're private appraisals only.
That's very important. By the way, this is for every house you're listing, everybody. This is a key point. I actually have a sheet already printed up. I give on listing appointments every time I go on. There are 5 things that determine the value of the home most of the time. Number 1 is school district. Number 2 is square footage. Number 3 is updates. Number 4 is lot/community. Number 5 would be rec room. Well, you don't have rec room, so hardscape, patios, so forth.
And water frontage. Our frontage is important here.
Yeah, that would fall under a lot, I guess. So if you're on a golf course or a waterfront, that would. So those are the 5 things that don't determine the value of a home. Is tax assessment, Zillow, how much they paid for it, how much they have in it, or how much they'd like to get out of it. So none of those things really matter. So let's talk about number 3, which is you're on a team. And by the way, my conversations with people around the country, I always say, join Keller Williams, the best real estate company on the planet. I get offered all the time, the XP, all these other companies. The people that move around a lot, I think they lose momentum in their career. I believe in having roots, digging deeper, and making yourself better. A friend of mine was a national trainer and speaker, Rick Willis, and he got on a plane once, and in the back was Evander Holyfield, one of the greatest fighters of all time. He went back and his entourage says, no autographs. Rick says, I don't want an autograph. I want to ask Evander one 30-second question. They said, come back. For the next 45 minutes, Rick sat next to Evander, and Evander shared with him. He said, what makes you the greatest fighter in the world? He said, here's what. I train harder than anybody. I work harder. I study more than anybody else. I become the best that I can be. I can't control what Mike Tyson or this person does, and I don't get caught up in all that. Sure, I know that he throws an awesome left hook, but I work on being the best that I can be. I'm going to encourage everybody on this call to be the best that you can be, and step up your game. So join KW. Number two, I always say join a great team or create your own awesome team. I think being a solo agent sometimes is difficult. You got to front all the expenses. There's strength in numbers. You all have the opportunity with Brandy's incredible team that's highly respected around the country to go in and say I'm partners with the Brandy Coffey team. You can get luxury if you want to, or if you don't want to be in luxury, you don't need to be. But I don't care if you're a rookie or a veteran, getting into luxury, I think is easier, probably if you're on a team, because there's strength in numbers and there's strength in marketing.
But I think, sometimes, and I have a lot of friends around the country that are great single agents, but I think there's a common misconception that when you're in luxury, if you build a team, you might lose that concierge level of services or the client experience. And I definitely don't see that with your team. The standards and expectations are consistent. And one thing I admire about you, the first time I went to a group lunch, I don't know if you remember this, you came to Sarasota, you were expanding down here as you've expanded all over the country since then. And you had a dedicated time daily that you called all your sellers. That consistent communication was very important to you, no matter who's involved on the team. And second thing I noticed, if you don't mind me interjecting here, is when you ask someone a question, you intently listen to the answer and you're fully engaged when you're in a conversation with someone. And I don't have a listing with you and no one else at that lunch table did. You are very, very involved when you're having a one-on-one conversation in relationship buildings. I think that builds a lot of trust and respect immediately. So obviously that's something you're modeling as a leader for everyone else on your team. And I think that's the most important thing is relationship building in our industry, because people are going to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And when they see you doing that, intently listening and not, talking too much, I just was blown away by that. I mean, I'm thinking, geez, the number one agent in the world is asking me a question and actually listening to the answer. Shouldn't he be too busy to be at this lunch with us? But you had that time block of when you communicated with your sellers that day.
Well, thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. I'm always say I'm a humble student. I'm a student of the game. I learn more when I go to Sarasota and other towns. I listen because I want to walk away with those nuggets. So I love sharing my successes and some failures we've had so people can learn. But I learn from everybody when I get on these calls. I wrote down a note here so I wouldn't forget it. I'm pretty boring. In other words, and a lot of successful people are boring. And what I mean by that is I am not out recreating the wheel. I'm not changing things all the time. I'm pretty regimented in what I do with my systems and to follow up and certain things. I'm always looking to be better, and I'll test certain things. But your basics, I mean, Vince Lombardi was one of the greatest football coaches of all time. He was all about the basics. And I think if you get away from the basics, you get in trouble. I work with a lot of professional athletes. Paul Blair was a family friend of ours. He's an Oriole Hall of Fame center fielder, retired. Actually, he's deceased now. He was coaching my sons, and he said, Bob, whenever I would go 0 for 9, I always would get a hit. I'm like, what do you mean you always got a hit? He said, when I was 0 for 9, I always laid down a bunt. And that little getting a hit there gave me the momentum and the confidence to get me out of my slump. So we need little wins. We need little victories to spur us on. And I encourage people. I see so many people, and they're all interviewed somebody yesterday who was lovely, who says, I want to do commercial real estate. I want to do this. I'm like, wait a minute. If I were you, I might want to focus on one thing, maybe sell residential, take those dollars and buy some commercial real estate. Like I said, I just bought a strip center down the street. I said, I took my real estate dollars and invested here, but I'm focused and I'm going to go list a $240,000 condo later this afternoon. But was involved in a several $1 million strip center. I'm like, those dollars fund your investments. So stay boring, stay consistent, stay with the basics, but stay consistent. And if you keep doing that, your career will grow. If you want to get into luxury, if you want to do more in luxury, just get in the game and do one and it'll dominate. You want to be you want to be a speaker on investment seminars, have one, buy an investment property. Then you can teach other people what you did and then domino from there.
Yeah, I think, it's easy to get caught up and worrying about what everyone else is doing, your competitors. And like when you're talking about Evander Holyfield, like, I don't think he was focused on anyone else. When you're focused on what everyone else is doing and what they're selling, yep. How can you be focused on your own business and your numbers and your profit and helping maybe the agents on your team? And I also think it's just so natural for agents, and I've done this in the past, and I still continue to feel forward, and the shiny object is in front of you and it looks like an easy button, and some new tool or some new system is going to get you a listing. I mean, it really is the basics. It's calling those old expireds. It's circle prospecting. It's door knocking. It's calling your sphere, even if they're not in this area. Maybe you just moved here. I know some people on the call. Call the people that might be moving. Everyone's moving to Florida right now. Maybe there's a referral agent opportunity that you can form relationships with. I mean, that's 30% of my business are referrals from other agents. And then combine that with the database. I mean, I have 70% of that. So, I mean, really anything on top of that, you're at 100%.
Everybody on this call can do what you're doing, Brandy. The call today, I'd never heard of a 555 until last week. My coach had said this, and now it was topic of our call today, and we're passionate about it. In fact, we laid out the 555 challenge to see who's going to do it. Call 5 people from your social media, call 5 people from your phone, and out of your database, and then call 5 people from your actual database and set appointments. And it's all about how many conversations can you have and then convert to appointments. So
I always add 5 people, agents. I like to have conversations. I mean, if you go through my phone, I was showing my brother the other day. I mean, I'm talking to other Keller Williams luxury agents daily. And it's people from all over the globe or all over the country, because you do want to be top of mind with them, especially if they're already coming to Florida. So they might miss an opportunity too if you're not having that conversation, because people are, moving all over to different places right now.
You all have an unfair advantage over me and everybody here. And Debbie Henninger, you used to be here, so you can relate to this better than anybody. There's not a lot of people relocating to beautiful sunny Maryland, Baltimore, but there are a lot of people in our 8% state income tax. But there are a lot of people who would love to get warm weather and no state income tax. So reaching out to agents to partner with them on referrals and so forth, and through Command, that's another tool you can use. I think you all have an unfair advantage to capitalize on tons of business from people up north. So,
well, and the listing agents in those areas, they can certainly, you can set them up with those sellers. So there's business for everyone. I think it just goes back to relationships. Who are you in contact with every day? And a lot of the relationships that I've built with the other luxury agents, this might be, you're big on social media. I've been following your Instagram lately with your videos, and, just having videos and connecting with people that you ordinarily couldn't connect with, especially right now. We're not able to travel. It's important to stay in touch, and social media is a very easy way to do that.
Yep. Well, yes, have a social media campaign. We're doing lots of videos now. We're going to be starting to do even more. We got a full-time videographer on staff, and it's a game changer. But we felt a lot when we started expanding around the country. We were in 27 cities in 6 months. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. but we realized we weren't following the right system. So again, get a coach, get an accountability partner, speak to somebody you admire to make sure that your business is on the right path. So now we're expanding, and we have great leaders around the country and in Toronto. And I'm so excited about what we're doing, because we're actually following a system, and I can see it. And we're measuring accountability, and we're measuring profits. And it's fun. It's really fun to watch. The game's more fun now than when we were approaching $1 billion. It's more fun now because we're seeing that this thing can grow it can grow to levels we never thought of. And the ISA program was a game changer, and I can't believe I've never done it till February of this year.
We just hired a new ISA from another brokerage, and we've had ISAs in the past. They're difficult to find sometimes, but when you can attract one, especially from another company that's doing something at a high level, and maybe they don't have the same opportunity there for growth that we have at Keller Williams, I think you definitely have to open your eyes to that for sure. I think going back to what you were saying about growing your team and having those systems and models in place and really watching the profit, it's becoming more scalable for you. So you were growing before, but now it's actually scalable at such a high level. I love that.
Well, and we're still learning. I went to a Tony Giordano's wedding. It was in California about 1.5 years ago, and it was beautiful. And I had the pleasure I got my master's degree at that wedding. I sat next to Mo Anderson.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I got my street master's degree. There's pictures of people took pictures of me. I'm a copious note taker. I've got a little notepad here in my coat pocket here. I don't go anywhere without it. And I'm taking notes of Mo saying, because I asked her while they were dancing, people were dancing, I'm like, would you talk to me about this? So I said, number one, what's your biggest concern or suggestion? She says, Bob, my biggest concern for you and the entire industry is this. Now, when somebody who's worth several $100 million speaks, I'll listen to them a little, even more intently, because they've been down the path. They've learned, and they have walked across the minefield. And I'm going to listen to every word she says, and I'm going to implement it. She said, I'm concerned that you and our industries don't have enough standards.
Oh.
I'm like, wow. And I'm like, you're right. And I don't think she really was talking directly that my standards, because I'm not sure she dissected my business. She meant in general, but she said, I don't think our industry has strong enough standards. My concern is that the industry will succumb to mediocrity. She says, raise your standards. And that's what we're doing. We're actually asking some people to leave our team because we're not going to accept mediocrity. Growing I'm not a market center, even though we are starting our own market center here, but it's just going to be for our team. It's called, actually Gary created it for us, called a strategic market center. We're going to be our own market center.
I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, but we're going to, if people don't adhere to the standards and if they don't have we're going to have quotas for production, then we're going to find them another team. Why? Because we don't feel it's right for the winners and succeeders to be around people that are going to be mediocre. Now, if somebody is working and doing all the activities, I'll stick with them forever. If they're passionate, they're learning, and they're doing what they need to do, I'll stick with them. But if they're not going to do the activities and not achieving their goals, not achieving the standards, then we're going to help find them another home and have them self-select out.
Well, and I think you said something really relevant and important earlier, the basic activities instead of trying to do everything. I think a lot of agents, if they don't see success immediately, and success is sequential, so there's that time period, and some people get impatient, and if they don't see an immediate result, they change the activity, and that's great, but you haven't given it time. There's a certain amount of time you have to put into it, and they'll just try to get that easy button and go and buy a lead or do something different rather than just staying to the basics.
We all want, and unfortunately, we all want that instant gratification. But in this business, how many of you have ever had a farm, a garden when you were younger? I remember in our backyard growing tomatoes. A little kid, my mother had a little garden, and we would water it. And our business is a garden. You would never go rake the field, throw in some seeds, go back tomorrow and say, where are the tomatoes? You water it, you nurture it, you put fertilizer on it, you prevent the deer from getting in. You do all these things and you nurture it like you would a young child. And then it feels great when it's harvest time. You are doing this with your business. So many people go, I didn't get results. I'm going to switch to this team. I'm going to switch to this brokerage. I'm like, you know something, you don't need to switch anywhere. You need to switch yourself. You need to look within. You have all the tools you need right here.
Yeah.
So, well, feel free, if you want to open up to some Q&A right now.
Yeah, it's 12:47. So if you would like to take yourself off mute or throw any questions in the chat box, let me see if I missed anything. Debbie says, thank you, Bob. Great to see you. Give hugs to Tracy.
Sure will, Debbie. Thank you. And congratulations on being down there. I'm jealous you're not paying any state income taxes.
Okay, so we had a question. Can you list the 5 things you don't do? So the 5 items that you do and 5 things that you don't. I think that's in regard to listing the property.
Or was that determining value?
Yes.
Yes.
I have this on every listing I go on. I have a printed sheet because I got tired of writing it down all the time. There's 5 things at the top I have that says that determine the value of a home. And you put what might be appropriate for you. Now, this does not apply to a 55 plus or a senior community. Number 1 is school district. In our area, I'm just going to tell you something. If you're over here in this particular school district, your house is worth $1.5 million. 100 yards down the street, 100 yards, same house, it's worth $1.2 million. Different school district. So school district is huge, and mainly it applies to high school. So number 1 is school district, 2 is square footage, 3 are updates, 4 is rec room / hardscape patio. If you don't have a rec room, you have a patio with built-in grill, all that means something. And number 5 would be your lot / community. If you have waterfront, you back up to trees. If you're on the main road, or if you back up to the golf course, there's a huge difference there. So those are 5 factors. 5 things that do not determine the value of a home is tax assessment. I don't care what that is. Number 2, Zillow. Zillow's own CEO sold his house a couple of years ago. And I think he sold it for 40% below his Zillow estimate. That doesn't mean, has Zillow ever been in your house? Do they see your upgrades? Do they see that your neighbor has a mobile home in the backyard that's going to depreciate the value? No, they don't know the details of your home. Tax assessment, Zillow, how much you paid for it? People say, Bob, I need to net this. I'm like, with all due respect, I want to net you the most I can, but I don't care what you want to net. Say that lightly. I said, I'm going to get you the highest price, but I don't position stuff based on your net because I'm a true market-driven person. I listen to the market. So tax assessment, Zillow, how much you paid for it, how much you have in it. Bob, I've got $1 million. I got to net like $1 million. I got to gross $1 million. I'm like, the market's not going to feel sorry for you that you overpaid. They're not going to do what you did. And number 5, so tax assessment, Zillow, how much you paid for it, how much you have in it, how much you need to get out of it. Or number 6, what your neighbor thinks it's worth.
I love that one. All right, I'm just typing this in for everyone.
So I'm going to ask you all one question. No, I'm going to make a statement. Everybody wants to increase their game. Show me your calendar and I'll tell you how much money you're going to make.
Love that.
Show me your calendar. I'll tell you how much money you're going to make.
Okay, one question from Amy. Any tips for hiring agents?
Yes, because we have succeeded and failed miserably there. One, we do a lot with under the Keller Williams. What is it? I'm missing.
Career visioning.
Career visioning. So for a lot of our management positions, we do testing there. There's 5 things that we look for when determining whether we want somebody on the team. Number 1 is integrity. If they're not honest, I don't want to be with them. Number 2, are they a team player? Cal Ripken was ready to give up the streak to be with the team when baseball was striking. He said, nothing's more important than the team, Bob. Number 3, are they coachable? I'm always learning. Going to seminars. Why is somebody else a know-it-all? We've let some of our top people go over the years. We've asked them to relocate. Why? Because sometimes certain people can be cancers to an organization. It's not we hate losing production, but if they're not coachable and a team player, that's not good for the rest of the team.
Mhm.
So integrity, coachable, team player. Do they have a servant's heart? Guys, I might wear a nice suit and you're all dressed up real nice today. We're just servants. That's what we are. We're high paid servants. You get paid in your direct proportion to how well you serve. I want to be the one that serves the most. And if you take, Zig Ziglar said this, if you take care of enough other people, you can get whatever you want. And number 5, what I'm really looking for is, do they have the tiger in their eye? Are they passionate? I've told my kids who have some of the best education in the world, they've gone to Bucknell, Amherst, and Gettysburg, and my youngest son's in law school. That's great. I got a street degree. I went to a local community college. That's important. But if you can take that great degree and have energy and passion and be highly motivated, you'll be successful. But the world's full of a lot of lazy, smart people. Okay, I want to see somebody, and I never ask anybody in an interview, what's your degree? If they want to bring it up, they can, but I want to see what's in their heart. How motivated are you? And I don't want a lot of talk. I want to say, what specifically are you going to do? Are you willing to be coachable? I'm so proud of this one gentleman. His name's Tom. I think 31 years old. He's a lawyer. He said, Bob, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I want to come learn this business. He took a significant pay cut to be my personal assistant for a year, picking up water, doing broker opens, putting up signs for open houses. He's a lawyer, he did the most menial jobs, but he learned it from the ground floor up. Tom's one of our top producers today and doing an awesome job. So What do I look for people is that people with a can-do positive attitude that will take direction, that are coachable, because remember, you're investing a lot of your time in people, and if they're not going to be doing what you're advising them to do, you're wasting your time. So, and I'm doing this now, I'm having other people. I used to meet people say, yeah, I like you, come on in, you're hired. No, not anymore. Having other people interview and meet with these people. I want to make sure that we're hiring right. Because having a bunch of agents, that sounds good that you got all these agents. I'd rather have 20 to 25 great, awesome agents that are passionate, loyal, and want to exceed expectations than have 100 and have a certain amount that, aren't going to not want to be passionate and do what they need to do.
Yeah, I think when we're a servant leader, like I would say everybody on this call, right? I don't know if we'd be in real estate if we didn't have the passion to serve and help families and people. Obviously, with agents, sometimes we want more for them than they want for themselves, and we pour into them and that can be exhausting. They do have to have that fire and that passion for being a servant leader, for sure.
When I answer some of your questions, what do you look for in a good coach? One, this coach was really assigned to us. Gary and some other people said this is a coach that will be awesome based on your business. So we tested, because we met them and we've grown and we've just really, I want somebody that will be, one, extremely confidential. Everything about your business, you're in confession here. And nobody should share anything about your business, your highs, your lows. When confidentiality, number one. Number two, I want somebody that really cares about what we're doing and is in it for the long term. I don't want to coach for a year. I want to coach for my career. That can work with us through trials and tribulations. And you want somebody who's going to listen to you. Here's my goals. Tell me how you are going to help me accomplish these objectives. And here are my weak parts. Do I hire part-time agents? Sometimes. Here's why. If they're passionate and have all those goals, have all those qualities, I want to help them be full-time. One of our agents, love her, Lori Pinty. She's a nurse, and she drives a Harley, by the way. She came here and she was part-time, and she increased from 2 to 12 houses. She said, Bob, I'm giving up nursing. She's going to sell 30 houses this year. I'm so excited for her, and she's one of our mentors. She has done an awesome job, because I saw the fire in her stomach, that she was passionate and she had everything, and she was a giver, and she's achieving greatness. So the answer is, if they're the right people, yes, I'd take a part-timer, and I'll say no to some full-time. We only have, I think, two part-timers in the company, but I'll help them transition to be a full-time.
The second part, we probably have 1 or 2 more questions when Georgia's going to jump on. Brandy Furlan. Hi, Brandy. How are you? I don't see you, but I know you're on here. There you are. Hi, beautiful. Do you prefer new agents or agents who have tried on their own and failed?
Well, there's all types of agents out there, well, that's a loaded question.
Good question.
Sorry.
Some of our best agents, I mean, you take a Samina, she's a veteran agent, was on Pat Hyben's team, a unbelievable giver, and I'd hire people like her in a heartbeat, and she's a veteran. Veterans sometimes tend to bring some baggage, some veterans do, and it's hard to adapt. The rookies, I've had great success with over the years because they don't know what they don't know, and they're very coachable. It's very important to be coachable at every level. I've got a letter right here from Tony Robbins that I wrote him in 1991. I said, Tony, I'd love to come meet you for 2 to 3 hours. Here's $20,000. My bags are packed. When can I come join you? And he wrote me a letter back about the importance of training. He said, my fee for half a day is $100,000. And this was 1991. Today it's over $1 million. Wow. So I said, tell you what, I'll just meet you at your seminars and I'll listen to your tapes. So I believe in coaching. So I love the newbies because they don't know, but they're passionate, they're on fire. We have some new agents. And then I've got some agents that have been elsewhere that have not done well, that have come here. I like getting them on the rebound sometimes because then they're coachable. So I guess I'll take anybody if they've got those 5 qualities that I'm looking for.
Love it. All right. Well, we have 2 minutes left. I think George is going to come on and showcase our luxury magazine ad. Bob, thank you. This was amazing. I hope everyone got a lot out of this. I've got a couple people I'm going to send information to, so hopefully they put their email in the chat box.
Well, thank you, everybody. Brandy,
Bob Lucido, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm honored for the invitation. Thank you for having me here. And hopefully you all walked away with just a couple nuggets that can take your business to another level. Just remember, I'm nobody special. You can do this. If you're a rookie, you can do this. Have confidence in yourself, latch onto a good coach or accountability partner, take action. You can do this. If I can do it, I always tell people I got a 4.0 in high school, 2.0 my junior year and a 2.0 my senior year. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Bob, everybody was a rookie at some point, but your life turned around when you joined Keller Williams.
You know something? You are 100% right. Keller Williams, I'm a total believer in Keller Williams and the systems there and the leadership in Keller Williams. And I just wish, why didn't you all try to sponsor me earlier? Anyway, have a great day and a great week, everybody. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. It's been great. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye-bye.
So guys, thank you so much for being on the call today. We just wanted to give you, to show you the magazine is out. So many of your market centers participated. Go back to that first. So if you were in any of these market centers here, Greater Manatee, Jacksonville Beach, Southside, Southwest, Sarasota, Sarasota Metro, Seminole, South Tampa, St. Pete Beach, Tampa Central, Venice, Winter Park, all of those market centers were agreed to participate in our magazine. So this is this is on page 50. So you all have access to the magazine. Your market centers were all given copies of this, and then of course there's the online version that you can go just like we're looking at it now. So make sure that you're taking advantage of this. And so it starts off with, I'm so proud of our market centers because they all went out and got just like that group photo that you saw of the KW on the water, and then these are some of their listings, and then just continue on with there's more listings here from that particular market center, and it just continues on. And then you see here we've got the Realty Select in Lakewood Ranch, we've got the Seminole Market Center, we've got the Tampa Central Market Center, South Tampa Market Center, and some more listings. And then we've got the market center, I think that was Pinellas, Gulf Beach is a Pinellas. And then we had some specific ads. So some of the agents chose to put in their own ads if they chose to do that. Here's some other ones, and then some more listings. And it just continues on with, that's our Orlando Southwest Market Center. We have been some individual ads, and then it continues on with, that's our Great Winter Park Market Center. And we've got our market center from Atlantic Partners out in Jacksonville Beach, and some great listings, and Southside, that's right. And then we got Brandy with the Venice Market Center, and it continues on, and then just more listings that I think it flips over to Maryland. So we've got about 30 pages in there. So we've got really, really great representation, everybody. And so we just want to thank everybody for their participation, and then get with your market center. Let us know if this is something that you would like to be represented in on a quarterly basis. We're talking about maybe getting with the market centers, and now that we've got the the group shots of everybody, maybe this is something we can do on a quarterly basis or every 6 months, or work with agents and the leaders to see if they want to advertise individually, so we can make a big presence every quarter in that magazine. But make sure that you take advantage of getting the magazine out of your market center and online, and use it for your database. And actually, Ashley just put the link right there in the chat for you.
Yeah,
So,
you can also just go to kwluxuryhomes.com, and right at the very top is the digital link that Ashley just sent you. So you can always find it on the KW website, the luxury website. Yeah. And your market center receives boxes of these if you're participating. So you should have plenty to use for your listing consultations. And if you need more, you can always contact KWI, Yana, and everyone at the luxury division, and they'll make sure your DFI gets another box for you.
Yeah, it's a great value tool, and also just something online that you can send out to everybody. But we've got a great representation this month, and I'd love to be able to see that every quarter that we did that. So thank you, Brandy, for leading our task force, and thank you everybody for being on the call today. And we've got some other, I think you put the dates, November 17th and December 15th for our next 2 calls.
Yep, Jordan Stewart will be next month. So, and then Kay Evans.
Yep, so very good. All right, very good, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. This was great.
Did Kay